Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into, well, a side of college life you don't often hear about. We've got some chilling true stories from students. These dive into the unexpected and honestly the terrifying. These are narratives that unnervingly could really happen to anyone, anywhere. It's a glimpse into anxieties, real horrors that might be lurking just beneath a seemingly normal surface. College years, they're often seen as this time of new beginnings, freedom, growth. But sometimes those years hold experiences far, far darker than you'd imagine. So today, we're going to tell you 3 distinct, unsettling accounts from students. Each one is sort of a stark reminder that even in places of learning, there can be hidden dangers.
Yeah, and what's really striking is how these stories highlight this unique kind of vulnerability. When you're in an unfamiliar environment, maybe away from home for the first time, well, your usual safeguards might not be fully tuned in. It makes you susceptible.
Definitely. Okay, let's start with our first story. This one comes from Chuck, UC Berkeley, class of 2016. He admitted that, as a freshman, Berkeley's whole high achiever vibe felt incredibly overwhelming. He remembers the stress, trying to build that perfect LinkedIn profile for internships, like his whole future depended on it. But then, ping, an email. Seems like a real breakthrough. A prestigious business firm reached out, interested in his profile, and it felt real because it wasn't generic, It felt tailored just for him. He apparently read it like 6 times before responding. After a bit back and forth, they invited him for a first-round interview. The message was from a guy named Armin Slawinski, a name Chuck says he'll never forget. So naturally, Chuck does what we all do, tries to research Armin on LinkedIn, and here's where it gets really unsettling. He found absolutely nothing. Zero.
Nothing at all.
No professional trace, no social media, nothing. Chuck initially just thought, okay, maybe the guy prefers privacy. But isn't that a massive red flag, especially for professional opportunity?
Absolutely. But when you're ambitious, especially in a pressure cooker like Berkeley, your brain can kind of rationalize those alarms away. It's human nature, right?
Yeah.
To dismiss things when the potential reward seems high. That lack of a digital footprint should have been a much louder warning.
Yeah, and the warnings just kept coming. Armin suggests meeting at a random coffee shop in Oakland.
Not Berkeley.
Right. Chuck thought that was weird. Berkeley has plenty of coffee shops. The address looked normal online, though, so he didn't question it too much. But the day before, he mentioned it to his friend Riley, and Riley immediately thought it sounded fishy. Thankfully, Riley offered to drive him. That decision, well, it might have saved Chuck's life. They get there around 4 p.m. Chuck asks Riley to drop him off a little way away. He walks to where the coffee shop should be and just stops, freezes. There's no coffee shop. It's a literal construction site. The whole area looked derelict. Buildings closed or private. He checks his phone. Yep, right place. He figures, okay, maybe Google Maps just hasn't updated. He pulls out his phone to call Riley, but just then a loud voice behind him goes, Chuck. He spins around. There's this absurdly tall man, expensive black suit. Armin.
So he actually showed up?
Yeah. Chuck felt relieved at first, like, okay, thank God it wasn't a setup. Armin's presence was commanding, but really out of place there. And next to him, a matte black Bentley.
A Bentley at a construction site.
Exactly. Armin walks over, acting confused too. They shake hands. Chuck asks about the site, and Armin claims he's just as surprised. Frowns, hand on his chin, then says, you know what? Why don't we find someplace else? Get in. He gestures to the Bentley, walks back, and yells over his shoulder, shotgun's all yours. Like it's totally normal.
That casualness is almost creepier.
Right. Chuck, still feeling relieved, follows him. He's walking on the car, admiring it, and he glances into the back seat, expecting, plush leather. But instead, he sees something that sends this profound chill down his spine.
What was it?
Lying flat on the floor, kind of hidden by the shadows, was a man. And in the man's hand, something long and metallic.
Oh my gosh.
Pure panic. His mind just screamed, trap. He turns away from the car and just bolts, runs faster than he ever thought he could. He hears Armin yell his name, doesn't look back. Then, the sound he dreaded. Screeching tires.
No.
He glances back. The Bentley's turned around, pointing right at him. He knew he couldn't outrun a car. And there was just this maze of streets, nowhere open to run, pure terror. He hits an intersection, left or right. Split-second choice. Logic said left was closer, but his feet just went right. Sprinting. He knew he only had seconds, maybe 10, 20 max. Then, like a miracle, one of the buildings ahead has a fire escape, and it looks low enough to jump onto.
Wow, talk about luck.
He launches himself up, grabs the ladder. He swears he'd never done a pull-up, but adrenaline. He scrambles up, keeps climbing. The Bentley whips around the corner, stops right below it.
Right.
Yeah. He couldn't see the driver, but he knew they were looking up at him. That next minute felt like forever. Then suddenly the car just accelerates, speeds down the street, turns left, gone. Never seen again.
Unbelievable.
He's gasping for air, frantically calls Riley, tells him everything, clings to that fire escape until Riley finds him. They drove away in just stunned silence. He says even now, he tries to block it out, but he remembers every horrifying detail, what could have been the last day of his life.
It's truly striking, the predatory nature of it, how Chuck, driven by ambition, rationalized away so many red flags. The missing online presence, the weird location. He wanted it to be real. It just shows how easily our own desires can blind us to danger, especially when we're alone in an unfamiliar territory. That instinct was screaming, but the ambition was louder.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, our next story is more recent, from 2019, a freshman's experience. It's about a dorm situation that became, well, a nightmare. This student lived in a Jack and Jill dorm. You know the setup. 2 rooms sharing 1 bathroom in between.
Right, so you're effectively living with 3 other people.
Exactly. And the story centers on his specific roommate, a guy named Diora. Before moving in, the narrator tried connecting on social media. Diora's replies were just very short. And his profile apparently looked like the stereotype of a Discord mod. Someone who spends a lot of time online, maybe a bit reclusive.
Okay, setting a certain picture already.
And when they met, he looked exactly like that picture. Skinny, pale, peach fuzz mustache. Conversations were awkward. Diora apparently stuttered, always tried to cut things short.
Yeah.
When asked about music, his reply was just bizarre. Music wouldn't fill his cup of emptiness.
That's quite a statement for small talk.
Right. But it got weirder than just awkwardness, especially his gaming habits. He'd make these strange grunting noises, violently shake his whole body, laugh while just mashing his controller buttons. He'd even put his feet inside his desk cabinet and sort of pull them toward himself while shaking.
It's very odd behavior.
And he'd whisper to himself while playing, often repeating the whispers twice in this creepy, giggling way. Plus, he was a total recluse. Stayed in the room 247, almost never did homework. Just his movements alone were unsettling when the narrator was trying to sleep. But the first really creepy incident happened during their first week. Narrator gets back late, like 1 a.m. Diora looks asleep. As the narrator goes to his own cabinet, he gets goosebumps. Feels like he needs to turn around. Does. And Diora is just staring right at him with a slight grin on his face.
Oh no, that's deeply unnerving.
The narrator yelps, asks him what the hell he's doing. Diora just laughs it off, says dark time, and rolls over.
Dark time? What does that even mean?
Who knows? But the chilling part. This staring thing happened 3 more times. The narrator tried to move out, obviously. But the college had no open dorms. And the other roommates in the suite didn't want to switch. So he was stuck with Diora for the whole semester.
That feeling of being trapped in your own living space. It's profoundly destabilizing. Dorms should feel safe, your first real taste of independence. When that's violated, it shatters your sense of security. The constant anxiety, the violated boundaries, especially for a freshman, it impacts everything. Sleep, focus. Being stuck just amplifies it.
Yeah, absolutely. So fast forward about 3 months, a pivotal moment. Narrator comes back from English class. It ended late, actually. He opens the door. Diora jumps up, looking panicked, and asks, "Why are you back so early?"
But the class ended late.
Exactly. So it was a weird question. Narrator asks if Diora needed the room to himself. Diora denies it, strikes this weird anime pose, and says the narrator shouldn't be worried at all, which of course just made him more worried. Then the narrator notices a box on Diora's desk. He asks about it. Diora dismisses it, not important. Right then, the narrator also realizes his iPhone charger and his scissors are missing.
Things start connecting.
He asks Diora. Diora admits, yeah, he has them. As he hands back the charger, the cable knocks the box over, spills the contents towards the narrator.
Okay, what was in it?
His heart just sank. A sticky note with the narrator's own name on it fell out, along with a clear case. Inside that case, eyelashes, a pair of glasses, a pair of the narrator's own socks, and a disposable photo of the narrator he'd taken as a joke.
Eyelashes. And his socks. That is incredibly disturbing, a collection of personal items.
Totally. Diora frantically tries to gather it all up, trying to explain, but the narrator just yells at him, tells him to get out. Diora leaves immediately. Narrator texts his RA, explains the whole horrifying situation. The RA tells him, "Keep the box. That's your evidence. We can get him kicked out with that." So the narrator hides the box in his laundry bin, feels really rattled, just disgusted. An hour later, Diora comes back. They just stay silent, tense, each on their own side of the room. Narrator tries to stay awake, scared, but eventually falls asleep around 2 a.m.
Understandable exhaustion, but terrifying.
Next morning, Diora's gone. A moment of relief. But then he remembers the box. He checks the laundry bin.
It's gone, isn't it?
Gone. He panics. Shortly after, the RA knocks. The RA believes his story, but says without the box. There's no proof. Nothing he can do. 5 hours later, Diora comes back. Plays totally dumb about the box. What box? Don't know what you're talking about. The narrator just couldn't stand being in the room with him after that. Apparently, when the source story was shared, it was the second semester. He was still dorming with Diora.
Still, after all that.
Yeah. Diora had promised never to do it again, said he'd move out if he did. Narrator took his word, but basically just stayed out of the room constantly. He said the worst part is he can't sleep, can't focus, just plagued by these unanswered questions like, what were those eyelashes doing there? And why label the box with my name?
This really hits on the violation of personal space, those expected boundaries in shared living. It's not just privacy invasion, it's psychological violation. The lingering horror, these unanswered questions, that shattered sense of safety in your own room is profound.
It's deeply unsettling. Okay, our final story. Halloween Week 2019 again, Big Ten school. Known for wild parties, narrator is a freshman. It's Saturday night, Halloween week, big football win, everyone's celebrating. They're at an off-campus frat house around 11 p.m., heavy drinking, loud music, standard stuff. Crucially, though, the narrator's phone died. He gave it to a friend to hold on to. He steps away to use the bathroom, tells his friends, wait for me by the DJ booth.
Oh.
While he's in there, chaos erupts outside. A frat guy screams "Co-PS" at the top of his lungs.
The classic party ender.
Right. People start scrambling. He sprints out, sees police cars, flashing lights, cops trying to catch underage drinkers. In his intoxicated state, he realizes no phone, can't find his friends in the mess. He decides his only option is to walk home. Problem is, the frat house is far off campus. It's freezing, like 37 degrees Fahrenheit.
Not ideal conditions for a long walk while tipsy.
Not at all. He's heavily tipsy, but conscious enough to know he needs a break. Needs to warm up, maybe sober up a bit. He spots a building nearby. Looks kind of like an academic building. He tries the door. It opens. He steps inside. It's dark, but exit signs give some light. He waits there for maybe 5 minutes. As he starts to sober up a bit, he realizes this isn't an academic building. It feels like a warehouse.
Okay, creepy vibe setting in.
Yeah, an eerie feeling hits him. He goes back to the door he came in through, tries to open it. His stomach drops. It's locked from the inside.
Wait, how could he have opened it to get in then?
Exactly what he thought. Makes no sense. He looks around, sees another door near an exit sign, pushes it open. He expects it to lead outside. Nope. Leads into another part of the building, smaller room. Lit by this low red light. There's a buzzing noise from some machine. He described it as like a typical horror movie scene. Chains hanging from the ceiling, steam in the room.
Okay, this is getting seriously bad. Chains and steam.
He immediately turns to go back through the door he just entered, tries the handle. It's locked too, locked behind him. Pure panic. He leans against the wall, just starts silently crying. Try not to make noise. Then he hears it. A door slams shut somewhere else in the building.
Yeah.
Then footsteps. He freezes. Goes completely silent, eyes wide.
Yeah.
Then another door shuts. More footsteps, getting closer.
Oh, God. Someone else is in there.
He spots another door nearby. As quietly as humanly possible, he opens it, slips through. He's now wading through those hanging chains, the steam. He hears the door to the room he just left open. Heavy footsteps entering that room.
They're right behind him.
Vital flight kicks in hard. He sees a window nearby. He just runs at it, kicks it with all his strength. Once, twice, 5 times. It shatters. He hears the footsteps running towards the door he just came through. He figures he has maybe 10 seconds, max.
He has to jump.
He leaps out the window. Doesn't even realize he's on the high side of the building. It's like a 10-foot drop. He lands hard on top of 2 recycling bins, pushes off immediately. Shock, adrenaline pumping. He looks up at the broken window. No one there. He scrambles under some pine trees nearby, hides in the shadows. Then he looks back up. That's when he sees it. A figure, looking out the shattered window, looking in all directions. For him.
Chilling. Just a random person hunting for him.
His whole body went numb. He realized, this is some random person after me. As quietly as he can, he slips across the street and just runs. Runs for his life. Doesn't stop until he recognizes his side of campus. Gets back to his dorm. His friends are outside, panicked, freaking out. They said he'd been gone almost 4 hours.
4 hours lost in that nightmare.
He tells them the story later. Their jaws just dropped. They found out the building hadn't been used in years. That pit in his stomach returned. Whoever was in there wasn't security, wasn't a cop, just some random person. He still says, it makes me sick. If I hadn't been more quiet or thought as quickly, I could be dead.
That story just highlights this terrifying mix of circumstances, doesn't it? Intoxication, isolation, the cold, desperately seeking safety. It shows how fast ordinary decisions, like just needing to get warm, can spiral into absolute menace when you're vulnerable and disoriented. The sheer luck of that escape, it's bone-chilling.
Yeah, it really is. So these three stories, all very different, but they share that common chilling thread, right? Vulnerability. Unexpected, deeply personal horror. From that professional meeting turning into a chase, to having your personal space invaded by a roommate, to being hunted in an abandoned building, college life can throw dangers at you far beyond just failing a class.
And what's truly illuminating, I think, is how these accounts really underscore the importance of awareness and trusting your instincts, especially in new places. Even somewhere that feels safe, like a campus or dorm, danger can just emerge without warning. You have to stay mindful and never, ever dismiss that gut feeling.
Couldn't agree more. Well, thank you for joining us on this pretty unsettling deep dive into the darker side of college life. If these stories gave you the chills, please do like and share this deep dive. And definitely subscribe to Horror Docs for more tales like these. Until next time, stay curious and always trust your gut.